So now is when the Democrats want any member of the leadership team to be neutral in all the primaries. You've got to be fucking kidding me. You've got to be. I mean, it shouldn't be surprising, but goddamn if it isn't surprising still. It still gets me every time. Think about all the times the Democratic leadership has fucking put their thumbs on the scales of a primary when there's a left-leaning candidate running against a, centrist establishment Democrat. You could think about, I don't know, the 2020 election or the 2016 election. But it happens in local elections or state level elections, senator elections, etc. It happens. This is when they want to do it. Because if you weren't aware, David Hogg, who is one of the survivors of the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas shooting in Florida and is now a vice chair of the DNC, has said that, anyone who's like an establishment Democrat who is not doing sufficient things to resist Donald Trump and is in a safe seat, which is, again, that's a really important part. He's only saying he's going to do this to people who are in safe Democratic seats. He will leverage millions of dollars to have them primaried by people on the left. This is like young people within the Democratic Party trying to change the Democratic Party from the inside. This kind of shit that we want and this sort of shit that we need. And this schmuck who was elected to lead the DNC is proposing a rule now that would make it so that you had to essentially vow to not be involved in any of the primaries, and otherwise, if you won't do that, to resign from your leadership post. The Democrats are so fucked. They are so fucked. They are so fucked. So I think that you're absolutely correct, but I also think that they are correct. Like, I'm not as sure that they're correct as I am that you're correct. I'm positive you're correct. Everything that they've done indicates that they're just like, all right, all we got to do, just wait this thing out and it'll swing towards us. Let's not make any big moves. Let's not commit to anything. Why would we? All the momentum's going against Trump. We can make as little change as possible here. We can hit efficiency, essentially, like market efficiency, where you make as much stuff as is needed and nothing more. Just as much in the direction of what the people want as necessary to get just enough votes for them to take back control of the government. They don't want enough. They don't want like a filibuster-proof majority or anything. They just want just enough so they can continue to sit there and be fucking impotent. And they don't want to commit to anything more. They don't want to, do anything more than they have to. And I think that they're right that they're going to win. Like I said, I'm not as sure of that, but I do think that they'll win because I think that there's enough momentum against Trump that the Democrats will win. But they won't win by very much, so they won't be able to do anything. You know what I mean? It'll all just be fucking performative. And even if they, say won the White House in 2028, although I don't know that I think that's likely or going to maybe be possible, especially if they follow what I'm describing here as their game plan in 26 and then 28. Even if they were to win the White House, that everything swings back towards the Democrats, let's say that to me is even scarier, because what they've proven is that when they take power, the fun has only just started with their ineptitude and their shittiness. Like, they've proven that the problem with the Democrats doesn't end when they get into office. In fact, it seems to get fucking worse. And they drop the ball and deliver to the American people just more status quo, corporatism, just the shit that led to Donald Trump getting elected. Twice. Let's put it that way. Because if the pendulum keeps swinging and people, things swing towards the Republicans and people are like, whoa, holy shit, that was awful. Let's stop that. And then it starts swinging back and the left's like, hey, let us have it. And the Democrats are like, fuck no. And they swing it right here to the center and maybe even over here a little bit. And then people are like, fuck, we got to burn this thing down. And so then, it swings towards the Republicans again. And then, they starts to swing back because people are like, no, we don't want that. And then it's like, and then the whole clock, the whole time, is just kind of, it's all moving to the right, The whole, like it's a pendulum on a clock, and then the clock is swinging towards the right. So every single time, it just kind of like further and further and further towards the precipice. Just falling off the fucking wall. And so I worry that the Democrats winning, not and even outside of like partisan electoral politics, I really do feel that we are coming to the end of an era. I think all of us feel that, right? And whatever we feel about what Trump is doing, which, in my opinion is fucking needlessly fucking awful, right? He is tearing down a lot of these systems that those of us on the left would like to see torn down. The problem is we just don't want to see what he's putting in place there afterwards. And the way he's doing it is causing just incredible pain. But whoever tore it down was going to inflict that pain. You know what I mean? Like, there was not going to really be an easy way to tear down a global financial system or the hegemony of a single massive empire. Like, you were never going to really tear that sort of a thing down without there being some people who are upset about it, right? And so the reason why I think the Democrats are right is because this upcoming election, these two upcoming elections, these could be generational. You know what I mean? We could really be like, with the right people in running for office against Trump and the Republicans, this could be like a whole new era of good government. You know what I mean? Like, there could be massive change. And instead, it'll be the Democrats, and they'll flounder it, and then it'll swing in the wrong direction again. And that really worries me. Like, I do feel like 2026 and 2028 are pivotal elections. And the Democrats are going to come out and give you the whole, it's the most important election of our lifetimes. And I agree with that. And so my line of thinking is that it's the most important election of our lifetimes. We can't leave that to the Democrats. You know what I mean? If we want to have the best possible candidates who are like aligned with the electorate the best and are like plugged in to what the people want, you'll only benefit from having robust primaries. The Democrats should be paying money to make sure that every single seat has somebody who the electorate is excited about. You know what I mean? And you do that through a fucking primary. The last thing they should be doing is protecting anything to do with the establishment. It's just so crazy to do that. Just have primaries. Spend money to make sure you have fucking primaries in every goddamn district. And the Democrats have money. That's the other thing. The Democrats have fucking money. But they don't want to do it because they want to protect their big dollar donors, That's what is happening here. And the only thing that like throws me off is that, and that I'm not like super certain about, is that I feel like I do think they'll win, but it's going to be a measure of how much. And they could win a lot, except for that instead of having those primaries, they're just going to try to run on we're not Trump. We have to stop Trump. The most important election of our lives. Look what's going on. We have to stop Trump. With, once again, no vision. You know what I mean? Beyond, we have to stop Trump. That's what they're planning to do. We have to stop Trump all over again. And it'll work with just like the smallest possible coalition of I'm tired of Trump people. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. Sorry. Your point is agreed with and very well taken, clearly, because it got me running. I don't even know how long I've been filming this. Probably like 7 minutes at this point. But I fucking agree. Okay, but get out of my head, because I was literally just thinking this. Like, I was just like even looking at numbers and stuff to like in anticipation at this point, because it's absolutely correct. Like, pick a fucking lane, right? Did left-wing voters cost you the election, or are left-wing voters such a small portion of the party that, it's crazy that they would expect that the Democrats would, do anything that they want them to do? Like, which one is it? Like, like these people cost you the election, so another way of looking at that is that you lost those voters, and maybe you should do something to get those voters. Because I'll tell you what you're not going to get. You're not going to get the Trump voters. Like, that's what they look at. They look at these Trump voters that they can maybe peel off a couple of, and they're like, ooh, let's go get those. Those look great. Let's go get all those voters. And they look at all these people on the left who are like, aren't we supposed to? Isn't this supposed to be like? I thought this was I thought this was our party, and they're like, "Fuck you, we're going right." Like, fucking pick a fucking lane, man. Absolutely. And the Democrats who are commenting on that video are exposing the reality here, which is that they don't care about anything other than getting the Democratic Party, as it is currently constituted, elected every 2 years. You know, like, that's all they care about, because it's not about, you know, oh, you can hold them accountable, because this would be holding them accountable. This is a primary election we're talking about. We're not talking about doing it in the general election. Every time that there's criticism, every time you talk about what the Democrats are doing, these people swoop in to defend them. And then when it comes time for the actual, you know, for a general election in a presidential year, then it's all fucking heads on fire. You know what I mean? Like, you're gonna hand the election to the Republicans, and everything we do to try to stop the Democratic Party from sucking and making them more palatable to us, that's not okay either, you know? And this would be a great time if they were applying logic and like a cohesive, in good faith political strategy that incorporated trying to get us to vote with them more. This would be a great time to do it, right? Because the Democrats are not going to get a filibuster-proof majority in the Senate. The Democrats will probably take back the House, but it's not going to be, I don't, you know, think it'll be by like a huge margin or anything. Not at least as they are currently constituted. And Donald Trump is not going to listen to anything that comes out of the legislature anyway. He has control of both houses of Congress or both chambers of Congress, and has passed zero legislation. You realize that? Like, Donald Trump has done everything he's done through executive order. Has not even really asked Congress to pass anything. Doesn't care. Is unfucking interested. So if you think that just because the Democrats take back the Senate and the House, you still can't just impeach the president. You still have to get it's 2/3 majority of the Senate in order to impeach the president. They're not going to impeach the president. It's not going to happen. So this would be a great time, because if we want to exercise our vote towards a third party without there being literally any downside, this would be the election to do it in, and that's what I advocate for. And I think this should be fucking scorched earth, no holds barred, absolutely fucking friendly fire, infighting, tear it down. Because if we want, like, this is a generational moment to make change in this country, and if we take that seriously, then we cannot let the Democrats get in our way. And as it stands, the Democrats are going to be the biggest thing in our way to that kind of a change. The general public is disgusted with what Donald Trump is doing. And so we have an opportunity to really change things and present a new system and present an alternative vision for this country that isn't just, don't vote for Donald Trump because he's bad man. You know what I mean? And the Democrats are the thing that's going to get in the way. So my view is that if you're going to vote, the best time to vote third party is in the midterms in 2026 and get their fucking attention. Because I have voted for the Democrat in every single fucking election, really. I mean, every presidential election for sure, but pretty much every midterm as well. And the only time that I've ever liked the candidate I was voting for in a presidential election was in 2008, you know, when I was 18 and idealistic and thought we were changing the world by voting for Barack Obama. But ever since then, it's just been me holding my nose, and I'm fucking tired of it. Really very much tired of it. So thank you for your comment. I really appreciate this comment. And not just because you agree with me, although that is a character trait that I very much value in other people. But because I think this is like a lot of people. I know a lot of folks who are way more centrist, you know, middle of the ground, moderate, maybe just like to the left of moderate, but certainly not leftist, certainly not like hardcore socialist or communist or anything like that. Just, you know, your basic kind of liberal, left of liberal, progressive kind of area. I know most of the people I know fall into that category. And all of them, and you know, this is anecdotal, so it's not like why I wouldn't really bring it up as proof, right? But all of them are in this same boat of being fed up with the Democrats. And it drives me nuts because there's always this kind of discourse that's like, people on the leftists won't vote for our candidates, and they sink the election and blah 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 blah. I vote Democrat every time. Everyone I do know who is far to the left votes for Democrats like 99% of the time, and it's like there's not a box that you can check on the ballot that's like, yes, I'm voting for this Democrat, but but I fucking hate doing it. You know what I mean? You vote for him or you don't. And there's just you can't prove that leftists don't vote for Democrats. And my experience, and again, it's anecdotal, is that they do, overwhelmingly. But a lot of them are fucking fed up with it. And losing this last election did not tilt them in favor of, wow, we really need to do more to get the Democrats elected. It tilted them in favor of, I'm fucking tired of holding my nose and getting fucking nothing out of it. And I think that the Democrats are way like miscalculating this situation, and they don't realize that they have not hit the floor of leftists not voting for Democrats. Like I feel like it's barely even happened. I think there are a lot of people who are talking about not voting for Democrats. Been like more like establishment people, like more establishment liberals. Like I know a lot of leftists don't like Ezra Klein, and I disagree with him on a lot of stuff, but I do like the research that he brings to things, and I do like some of his ideas, and I think people on the left should give him at least more of a listen, just because I think it's an interesting conversation he has. And I read his book that he just recently came out with, and I thought there was some good stuff in that too. But anyway, I was listening to his show from earlier in the week, and he had a guy on there. I can't remember the guy's name, but the guy was essentially saying, everyone says that we're teetering on fascism, and that everything Trump's doing is unprecedented. But then he was essentially going into, no, it's not unique. And, you can go back to any number of things throughout American history, whether it's, Japanese internment or Operation Wetback, or obviously like slavery, all these kind of moments throughout American history. Joseph McCarthy, where like the things that Trump's doing aren't necessarily unprecedented. And this sort of fascism lives in American politics and lives in American culture and lives in American government, and that it's just a resurgence of it, and it's not necessarily anything new. And I obviously, like I said, that's not like a unique idea, but the fact that it's being given so much space within this kind of establishment liberal space, I think speaks to how frustrated and over this status quo politics, like more liberal and mainstream Democrats are. I think there's a lot of appetite for this, and I think the Democrats are shitting the bed. I don't know a single Democrat and person who's more like in the middle and centrist who is happy with what the Democrats are doing right now. I get comments from some of them, obviously, but the vast majority, are not happy with it at all, and are considering things like voting third party and how the hell we, what are they going to do about the Democrats? So yeah, I don't know. It's crazy to me to see people defending the Democrats in these comment sections. I don't know. It's wild. It almost feels like trolling. Like like I don't actually think that's what it is, but like it does feel like you're a bot, sir. Because how could you look at everything that's happening and still be parroting these lines that are in conflict with each other?